Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at johnnydellsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. A double victory Monday as the Rams do us a huge favor and screw the pooch. Niners win, bang, bang. Just in such a great mood. Welcome to December. Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that is just simply amazing. I'm going to put it that way. I'm just very, very fired up. First time since I was 3 years old, we have done something that I'm going to say. We beat Cleveland at Cleveland. And we got a lot to get into, Johnny.
Hashtag Hogate.
He's a hoe. Your mama's a hoe. Yeah. Look, we know that we in the Bay Area have some players that if they were not on our team, that we maybe would not be a fan of, and that is every single fan from every single team has a player like that. So that's a big fat nothing burger is what that is.
Yeah. If you missed it, Shelby Harris called Juwan Jennings a hoe after the game.
Yeah.
He was like, I could see why they punched him in the nuts.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's a nothing burger, but the something burger was the game that was exactly what Mr. Johnny Dell called. I did not call that. I was hoping that I would be wrong, and I was. So, Johnny, you literally called the score pretty much, and so props to you. It's almost like you watch film, all the time. So I have.
Yeah, so I did watch a little bit of Shadur before this matchup too. So I had a little insight there.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be any sort of efficient passing offense. And look, the Browns passing offense all season has been really poor. Yes, they had the one drive where they were able to run the ball like 8 times in a row, and then they were able to finally get a play action pass off that. But after the first half, we did much better stopping the run, and that pretty much killed the Browns offense. So after that point, as long as the offense didn't completely screw the pooch and we made a few critical plays, it was going to be a 49ers win. And look, you never downplay these kind of wins, because that is maybe the best defense in the league. I mean, that defense would look so much better if they had a competent offense, and they're still number 2 in the league in almost every metric. So when you look at that defense, you say, okay, they are one of the best, maybe the best defense in the league, and Myles Garrett is having the best year of any defensive end ever. So you can't take a win like that for granted. Just look at the Packers. They lost to that team. That's why I can't take the Packers seriously. They lost to that team that we just beat 26-8
at home.
But
so the Rams
now
lost to
the Rams lost to the Panthers that we
pretty much
by double digits,
and
even
should
with
have
Brock throwing 3 picks.
Yeah, we should have beat him by
okay,
40.
so I will say this. I don't take a victory lap on other creators very often because that's just not my style. And I get it. We all put ourselves out there and nobody's gonna bat 1,000. And I think it's just bad taste to try and build your brand off of not producing quality yourself, but by criticizing the quality of somebody else. However,
with that being said, you're about to throw that all out the window, aren't you?
I've had him on the show several times, and I like him as a person, Jake Ellenbogen. He's a big Rams content creator. But Jake and I have been going back and forth for a little bit, going back to the Cardinals game, because Jake, when Brock Purdy came back and he threw 3 touchdowns, had no interceptions, had a phenomenal game against the Cardinals, Jake was like, well, it's just the Cardinals. And he was like, these 49ers fans are wild. They're here propping up a mid QB who probably it wouldn't be a starter on 29 teams in the NFL. And is like, and Mac Jones is better. That's what he was saying. And I had just watched our tape, and so I wasn't in any mood for that. Watching what Brock had done in that game, and I was like, and I've watched every snap that Mac Jones has taken this year. And I'm like, this is not founded in truth in any sort of way. And so I had commented to Jake at that point, and I said, Jake, here's the deal. If you're gonna play the who did they play game with Brock and his performance, then you have got to do the same thing with the Rams when you guys go play the Cardinals, because you're going to play the Cardinals. And so if you blow out the Cardinals and Stafford throws, 3 touchdowns, you cannot then turn around and say, well, Stafford's performance, it was just, it was the Cardinals. Then Stafford, if you say he's the best quarterback in the league, then he should be throwing 6 touchdowns against the Cardinals, because it's the Cardinals. And as you've said, Brock Purdy is this is your metric. That was my point with Brock, or with Jake. And he started he started going off that I was making some sort of comparison between Stafford and Brock. I said, no, I'm challenging you on your metrics. When things are measured, if you turn around and say, well, it was against the Cardinals, and so therefore a good performance does not count as much, then you've got to I said, be careful of that, because then that's going to be turned around and used on you. If Stafford goes against Arizona and doesn't play a good game, now your metrics do screw you, because by your standards, then he has to be judged by that. Be careful of what standards you set. So, following the Panthers game, of course, Jake was taking a victory lap over Brock Purdy throwing 3 interceptions against the Panthers. The Panthers was going off on Brock Purdy all week.
At least we won, bud.
What happens this week?
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford throws 2 interceptions.
One of them a pick 6 and a fumble to lose the game. The fumble lost them the game.
Turns the ball over 3 times, and they lose the game. And so I came back at Jake, because he posted, he was mad at Rams fans because they were like, Stafford's terrible, we need a Drake May sort of a thing. And he was like, why? Oh, so it's not okay for Matt Stafford to throw interceptions, but it's okay for Drake May to throw interceptions. Am I doing this right? So I quoted it and said, it's not okay for Brock Purdy to turn the ball over 3 times against the Panthers, but it's okay for Matt Stafford to do it. Am I doing this right? Because that's the metrics you set. You want to have a dance on the grave of Brock,
a man of the people, Johnny Dell.
Panthers, up against the Panthers. Be careful. That was what I told him. I said, be careful of this crap, because then you go play the same team. When your team craps the bed too, then we can do the same, say the same things about your guys as you've been saying against us. So yes, I took a victory lap on that one with the Rams losing on that. And here's what it's setting up. I put this out on November 16th, 15 days ago. It was the day after we had beaten the Cardinals. I said the 49ers, there is a real path for after week 15 for the top of the NFC West, for the Rams, Seahawks, 49ers to all be 10-4. And that's going to make the last 3 games of the year extremely fascinating. And that is absolutely true, because you know who the Rams play in 2 weeks? They play the Lions. That is not a for sure win for the Rams, especially, you know, Jared Goff he still is fired up and wants that redemption. And with the way the Rams played against the Panthers, that is not a guaranteed win at all for the Rams. And the Seahawks, they play the Colts in that time. And that is not a guaranteed win at all. Now, they are helped out that Sauce Gardner has a calf strain and is most likely going to miss a game in there. But there is a real path for going down to the last 3 games of the year that all of the teams, 49ers, Rams, and Seahawks, are all 10-4 heading into that. And you know what happens during those last 3 games? The Seahawks and Rams play each other twice in the last 3 games. And we play the Seahawks for the last game of the year.
The last game, yeah. And if we beat them, we sweep them.
And we not only sweep them, we're 5-1 in the division with the best divisional record of those 3 teams. That is, and there's a pathway for the 49ers to actually win the West this year, which is wild considering we are a year behind in our roster reset from both LA and Seattle, and have 4 defensive ends on IR.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle for president, not just coach of the year. So let's get into the super chat real quick. We'll get into more of that particular play as well. But Cayman Islands podcast checking in. Thanks for the super chat, and asks our thoughts on his man Brock dancing on him like that. And in the press conference, he admitted, "Look, guys, I've always been able," he's like dusting his shoulder off. "Look, guys, I've always been able to Dougie, okay?" He wants it known that, like, this wasn't something that Jawan Jennings just taught him 8 days ago. He's always been able to do it. So street cred, he is invited to the barbecue. But he annoys his wife with it, and he, so he wanted to he said, "Hey, if we get in the end zone, I told the guys I'm going to make it fun. I didn't know for sure what I was going to do, but I had to bust out the Dougie." And I love, 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 love. George Kittle did not know he was going to do that. Or George Kittle, the Oscar goes to George Kittle for the acting job, but he acted like he had no clue that was happening. The NFL even released the video saying, "Oh, Kittle had no idea he was going to bust that out." Like, it was just so fun. You talk about just laughing your butt off. Like, that was so awesome. What did you think, Johnny?
I mean, it was well, I think you set it up pretty well. It was just awesome. It was great to see Brock have that keeper down there and completely fake out the Browns defense.
A la Peyton Manning.
Right. A la Joe Flacco from the game against the Steelers early in the year. Man. It's good to see Brock moving well. You saw the amount of sacks he avoided in the game. Like that really should remind us of what Brock brings. That Brock has one of the highest, and Myles Garrett referenced this in his post game as well, that Brock's rate of pressure rate to sacks is the best in the NFL, meaning like nobody is actually avoiding sacks at a higher rate that should be sacks than Brock Purdy. Like when a quarterback is pressured and how often they get sacked, the disparity is huge. Brock yesterday, he was sacked twice, I think, once. Myles Garrett got one. I think he was sacked twice, but he was pressured on something like 28% of his dropbacks. I mean, it's just insane. Like he's under a lot of pressure. We saw Mac Jones was taking like 5 and 6 sacks a game when he was in there. And now he was still standing there, make some really good plays. But it was clear like that Brock avoids the sacks. Now, what I really enjoyed about the performance from Brock yesterday were the throwaways. He really understood this is an offense. The opposing offense is not going to score more than 20 points on my defense unless
So
I
just
turn
get
the
rid
ball
of it.
over.
Yeah, I made
And
Myles
so he
Garrett
was,
smile. Remember that one clip where Myles
yeah,
Garrett is
and
just like,
he was asked
this
about
is
that.
not.
He's like, "What'd he say to you?" And he goes, "Well, I was doing the bootleg keeper around the side, and I turned around and he was right there, and I was like, oh crap!" And so threw the ball away, and he was like, "Come on, bro!" And I'm like, "No, I'm not giving it to you." But he and it hurt his stats, Brock's stats, and so I think he had something like 8 throwaways in the game. And that's fine. Like that was exactly what you needed to do in this situation. Bad weather, make the other team earn it, but he also still made some really high level throws. And so all of it coming in, man, it was great. We know that on a Victory Monday, how big the game is by how poppin' the chat is
Yeah.
the next day. So let's
So,
get to another one of these super chats.
yep, two-parter. So, how about a deep dive film breakdown on the Dougie, the dance for the bye week, and then also, I am curious about this too. What is JJ jawing about that is so offensive to these other players? And there's chat. The chat is saying, "Oh, it's mama jokes. It's something about they mama." I don't know. I mean,
Well, like,
even
okay,
the
so I mean,
N-word
whatever
of
he's saying is
is
pretty
not.
bad
Yeah,
because, like Myles Garrett was asked about it and he was like, I don't know how he was brought up. I mean, and you're like, and Shelby Harris is like, he's saying things that a grown man should never say to another grown man. Like,
yeah.
so
I
I
don't
don't know if
know.
I want to speculate there. There's a few avenues that among the male side of the spectrum that there's certain areas like you really don't want to go into, and
Yeah,
and none of them are probably safe for work here, where some people
not
might be watching this, so we're not going to
NSFW.
get
Yeah, NSFW.
too deep of a dive into that. Now, as far as the Dougie, I'm gonna then offshore that to somebody like Adam, because I am not an expert on the Dougie. I can do the sprinkler. I got a
Oh
pretty good
God,
robot.
let's not. No, no. Talk about
Uh,
tanks. I'd rather you talk about U.S. tanks, war
No, no,
tanks.
no, no, no. See what it is the real dance move is you dry
Uh-huh.
yourself off with a towel and put out a cigarette. That's the one.
Okay. This is not the
That's the real.
channel.
I'm waiting for that dance move. I'm not super familiar with the Dougie. I mean, I've seen it obviously, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, look, Brock's
He's
getting jiggy with it, I guess.
Oh God. Oh God. All right, we got other super chats to get to. Cornelius checks in. Thanks for the super chat. He says, shout out Trent Williams. Miles had to do the Euro step.
That
Now,
was a wild,
Trent
yeah.
Williams does not get beat inside. They talked about that on the broadcast. And wouldn't you know, he gets beat inside. I mean, shout out to Trent Williams for sure. Hell of a game, only giving up the 1 sack. Myles Garrett played his tail off. It fell off. You could see it on the field. You're like, oh, there's Myles Garrett's tail. He left it out there. The dude was amazing. And yeah, that was a fun matchup. I will say that I thought, Johnny, Myles Garrett lined up against Trent Williams more than I expected. What say you?
Absolutely. He lined up against Trent a lot more than I was expecting. And I do wonder if they were looking at it that they felt that Miles was going to win against Trent no matter what, would have eventually win some against Trent. And so they had the potential for a double win rate by putting somebody else on Colt McKivitz.
Yeah.
Whereas if you put Miles over on Colt McKivitz, you're going to get a really high win rate, but you probably will get no
Shut
wins on
down.
the other side.
Yeah, you get shut down.
So now they did start doing that in the second half. They started to put Miles more against Colton McKivitz in the second half. And I think that was really because he wasn't getting many wins there over against Trent. And so they put him against Colton a number of times. They started drawing us planning to have him over there. And so doing some chips, and then they moved him back over Trent. And that's where he got Trent on the Euro step. I mean, look, people will be like, Trent's getting older. He's slowing down. He's not quite, look, he just held up against A man that has
Pretty
been
good.
average, that has had what, 15 sacks in 4 games, something like that, or 12 sacks in 4 games. And he's 12 sacks in 4 games leading into this. That the guy was getting like 3 sacks a game, had a 5-sack game at one point. The fact that he held up against him to only give up 1, somebody that now has 19 sacks on the year, is
And it was in
on
the
pace
fourth
now.
quarter. We were already up. Like, it wasn't at a time where it was like, no, you can't take
Well,
a
and
sack
it
there, bro.
was also
Like,
a
it
3rd and
wasn't.
long. Like it was
Yeah.
one of those. So Trent Williams held up as well as I think anybody in this league will against Myles Garrett at this, how he's playing at this stage
No, it
of the
was
season.
unreal.
I mean, it'd be like holding up. It's actually more impressive even than holding up against Bosa for an entire game and keeping Bosa sackless or to only 1 sack. So, big props to Trent Williams. Had a heck of a game in run and pass, and was a big reason we scored 5 times. So,
Yeah. And then speaking of holding up, Zach, thank you for the awesome super chat. Always love when you check in, man.
I'll do my own foghorn because I forgot to load it in.
Purdy looked pretty good for a duck thrower who cannot handle wind and wet weather. And we know Zach well enough to know that is always
There's a lot of
tongue-in-cheek.
tongue in cheek there.
There's a lot of tongue in cheek. There's a lot of inside kind of joking on this channel with Zach. But now I will say, Zach, that the weather did not come the way that they thought it would. But overall,
No,
it
it went
not
how
great
I
weather.
said it was going to go, Adam. I said it was going to be snow, probably snow flurries in the morning, snow earlier. They were going to clear the grounds, and it would be a clear, snow-free surface, and it would just be mostly cold and windy. And I was saying that in those conditions, because I felt like Brock was going to be on normal cleats, that it was going to be a perfectly fine performance. Just saying.
And what did we have? Yeah.
We had a perfectly fine performance. I'm actually watching right now the deep ball to George Kittle. And I will say there is a certain beat reporter, to put it kindly, that said that if Brock had actually led George Kittle on this, it would have been a touchdown. I'm watching the play. Actually, no. George Kittle, he led him away from the deep safety. Like, this is such a good throw by Brock. George barely breaks his stride. He has to turn over the opposite shoulder because the near safety's there. So Brock is leading him away from the near safety. And and I'm doing my math really quickly here. It goes from the 47 to the 9. So that is a 38-yard air yards throw into a 20-mile-an-hour wind is about what it was at this point. Down the left sideline, away from the safety. That's a freaking awesome throw. It's awesome. Great throw by Brock there. That was right before the half to end up getting the 49ers 3 more points and the lead, which they never surrendered again the rest of the game.
So I took quite a few
notes. The Browns had a lead in this game for a grand total of 37 seconds. I mean, for real, like the 49ers in the last 4 games have trailed for a grand total of 37 seconds. Or sorry, excuse me, 3 games, the last 3 games. So, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that does not suck, as they say. So here are some notes, Johnny. I want to see what jumps out to you. What I did yesterday, I used to do, and then I don't know what happened. I just stopped. I apologize, but because these are some good notes. So I texted myself during the game with some points.
Did you reply?
I replied to myself. I was excited to get the text. I'm like, oh, there's a text message. So here's what I have. Huge return by Sky Moore. Great call to get CMC into the end zone on 3rd down so that we didn't even have to worry about going for it on 4th down. I mean, that was huge.
I think anytime that the coach calls the play on the play sheet that says touchdown right now, that's the best
That's
decision
the
at that
call.
point.
Just go
Yeah.
ahead and score. But we talked about, now it was someone, please give your victory lap. I don't remember if it was someone like Quiffleball, Glass City, Cornelius, Michael Norris. Someone, please check in. They did say that Sky Moore would have a huge return. I distinctly remember that it was one of the faithful, who is also faithful to the channel, who said that. And I wish they're here now and that they can take their credit, because I definitely thought of the chat as I see Sky Moore running out of wind. You could see that he was going to he was like, oh man, but what a great return that set up everything. You look at the average field position for
Oh, it was
Cleveland and
wild.
for us, it was in Captain
Ours was
Insano.
like at the 41 and theirs is at the 21. I mean, look,
Yeah,
we now I won't say all of our special team or the great disparity in special teams was all on like good us. There was a number of bad special teams plays by the Browns. I mean, you look at the giving up a 66-yard punt return. You have a guy catching the ball out of bounds on a kickoff at the 5-yard line. I mean, like, talk about a gift, because they should have got the ball at the 40. They get the ball at the 5. They muff a fair catch
yeah.
that literally bounces
They
straight
browned it.
to
They browned it.
Darrell Luter.
They're the browniest.
I mean, now the only thing that made me go huh, was Matt Gay doinking one off the upright. Now it still went
But
in.
it still went in.
Still went in.
That was so funny.
But I mean, just like we said for years, if Kyle Shanahan had at least a mid-range, just a mid special teams unit, an average special teams unit, that they would have won 2 Super Bowls and he would be like in the playoffs every year. And what do we see this year? The biggest difference between this year and last year is not actually even quarterback performance. It's not performance by any stretch on the offense. It is special teams. Jake Moody missed a ton of field goals last year, especially down the stretch. You go back to 2023, we should have won in Cleveland that year. And that game, if you remember, it was 17-16 or 17-15 at the end of the game. And Brock drove the 49ers down to the 24-yard line of the Browns. Game, last play of the game, Jake Moody has a chance, a 41-yard field goal to win the game. And what happens? Moody off the right, misses it, and that kicked off a 3-game losing streak.
I was
Should have
there.
been 7-0 to start that season.
From where I was sitting,
or
I
6-0
was
to
like,
start that season.
why is Cleveland cheering? I thought we made it. Like,
right.
seriously.
And so then you come into this game and you see it. Special teams is a huge part of why we actually won. Like we've gone from a special teams unit that isn't sitting here saying, let's not just lose the game. This feels like a special teams unit that is actively making plays to win games. And that is awesome.
So another thing that was awesome that the chat was kind of giving it to me too, for, hey Adam, this is Adam, call me back. Like texting myself. So here's
hey
another
Adam,
note.
just checking in on you. Give me a call when you can.
I said, okay. Here is as Hugh Wilkins says, Kyle equals coach of the year. Here's a reason why. I texted myself this note as well. Kyle accepts a penalty in the second quarter, and we get a sack to force a punt, which becomes a touchback because the Browns, of course, browned it when they punted. But I thought that was also, at the time in the second quarter, was huge, because for a second I'm thinking, oh no, just decline the penalty. They're at the 30,
like, and it's 4th down.
Yeah,
like,
but
because what you were thinking was, okay, you have 4th and 8. You're going to put them to 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 15 again. If
out
they
of
get
field
more
goal
than
range,
7 yards, this was a net negative decision.
Exactly, it was a bad call.
And you're thinking, and then what? But what do? they freaking get a sack. And
Yes,
push
dude.
them
I was like,
leave
oh,
leave
no
no doubt
doubt.
that they were
Great
out of field
call.
goal range.
Yeah,
That was
great
awesome.
call. And then again, it was a touchback. All that, the Browns could have pinned us, but they refuse, as they are the Cleveland Browns. So that was big. Then the one thing was with 6:30, this was our blemish. With 6:30 left in the half, 4th and 4, we punt.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know, the Browns proceed to go 90 yards and get the TD, and then we do a Browns move and they get the 2-point conversion because we got too many idiots out there. So now they get to go for 2 and get it, and that's how they got their 8 points. That was our out of all my messages to myself, that was the only blemish really that I had put on us, was giving up that long drive before the half. Now, obviously, we do get that field goal, so that doink, so that we go up 10-8. But I would have liked us to just go for it on 4th and 4. Were you okay with punting?
Absolutely. Again, it's about you're most head coaches, offensive coordinators, and everybody, they're going to call a lot of things based on probabilities. And you're really looking at what's my probability here. I mean, understand what the Browns offense had done up to that point. 5 plays, 21 yards, punt. 10 plays, 49 yards, turnover on downs. 7 plays, 12 yards, punt. And then, so they had barely been able to move the ball, and they had a turnover and 2 punts leading into that. And so you punt the ball away thinking we're going to pin him down in there. It's very hard to move on this defense. So we're going to play the field position game. We're going to pin him down in there. We're going to stop him, and then they're going to punt it, and we're going to be starting at either our 40, 45-ish, or maybe even midfield. That's what you're looking at as a head coach. So I have no problem punting the ball there, because you look at coming out in the third quarter, they had 2 drives that started around the same position on the field. And how did those drives end? 5 plays and a punt.
Well,
4 plays and a turnover on down.
Yeah, and that was hilarious. Why are you going for it at your own 30 and you don't even have your quarterback taking the snap? And so you're just asking for trouble. They brown it, and now it's our ball.
Those are things that a 3-9 team does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, because you're trying to get a spark somewhere. I mean, if you look at the rest of their drives, 3 plays, punt, 3 and out. Next drive, 7 plays, 10 yards, and they turn over on downs. Then you have 9 plays, 27 yards, and they turn over on downs. That Browns offense wasn't doing anything against our defense except for that one singular drive. And that was really just a drive where they ran the ball and ran the ball and ran the ball and ran the ball. And so that's issues on your side. So
we talked about him.
So
he's good.
Yeah. And so when I look at that, I go, I have no problem with punting there, because you knew in this matchup that you did not foresee that Browns offense putting up 3 scoring drives. And if they were going to give him a scoring drive, you figured it was going to be one where they had a special teams play and they got good field position. That driving 90 some yards on you is not on your bingo card. Like, if you're a head coach, you're feeling very confident that's not going to happen. And all the other drives are proof positive of that. That was the one outlier in the entire game. So no, I have no problem punting there.
So some more funny situations that happened was after they completely brown it at their own 30, then we get the ball. Great play to Kittle. You even showed it to me before the show, is why we were 2 minutes late. I'm sure we will see that in your breakdown. Just unbelievable play. And then we know that Brock gets the keeper, does the Dougie, just floored all of us with that. And on the opening kickoff for that, after that, not the opening, but on the ensuing kickoff, the dude catches the ball with like a foot out of bounds, and they start at the 6-yard line. Then
5. We're going to start at the 5, then the 6, and then they moved back to the 5.
To the 5, yes.
And it was we all thought there was a safety in there too, right?
Robert Saleh did.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was
giving
the safety sign.
Just great defense. And again, when the Browns put you in situations to excel and then we excel, it's just more fun. It's like, if you guys are going to do silly things, we're going to capitalize and it's going to be glorious. Like, that's how the game went over and over and over. I mean, even Miles Garrett, like we talked about, he didn't get that sack until the fourth quarter, and then we recover the muffed punt after the guy fumbles for the third time. He fumbled it 3 times. This time we recover it, and we're back in business. I'm
Yeah.
happy that Jawan Jennings got a TD then on the ensuing drive. Keon White got a sack. Was happy to see that.
Cleveland Farrell got a sack.
Yeah, those were my notes. I was excited to go through those with you and the faithful. Uh Man, what a game. I'll take 4 more of those, please. You got any more of them?
Yeah, I mean it's a game that it went how you wanted, how you felt it should have gone for our team.
Yeah, and I love it when a plan
And
comes
that's
together.
right. Thanks, Hannibal. But it really was. I mean, you felt like it was going to be a game that the 49ers shouldn't lose. It was going to be really hard to move the ball on offense, but you should still move it enough to score points, and you shouldn't allow that Browns team to really score any points. I mean, the wild thing is, even with the 49ers being down 8-7, the win probability for the Browns never got above 42% the entire game. Like the highest it got for them was after Brock threw an incomplete pass, I believe it was a throwaway, on 2nd and 10 with 33 seconds left in the game. The win probability at that point for the Browns was 42%. And it never got higher than that the rest of the game or before
Yeah.
that in the game. Like they literally just never had a real shot at winning this game. And the 49ers never gave them a shot. That's the biggest thing, never gave them a shot. They played a clean game and said the Browns are going to have to earn every bit of this, and just the state of their roster, they are not a team that is able to earn a win against the 49ers roster, and that played out. So it's great to see. It's a great, absolutely great win to be coming off of, going into the bye week, where I'm assuming, hoping that you're going to get Yetur Gross-Matos coming out of the bye, that they're going to activate him off IR coming out of the bye. You may even hold him off. You may like open up his practice window during the Titans week to try and kind of start ramping him up in practice, but not actually play him in the game. Because you won't have to open up a roster spot. You can just open his practice window. And so, because you're not going to need him against the Titans. Like, the Titans are terrible. So there should be no concern about losing to the Titans ever. So, you get the bye week, you can have him rest on that Sam O. Hopefully that high ankle, those are tricky. They aren't like a normal ankle sprain. And that was what I was worried about. I saw it on film and I put it on X before it was announced that he had a high ankle sprain. I said, I'm no doctor, but it looks like a high ankle sprain to me, because and it was a silly one too. Like, it wasn't like he got rolled up on or that he got stepped on. It was literally play. He was chasing Bryce Young out on the sideline, dove after him, was sliding, and then tried to, as you're sliding and then pop back up on your feet. That's what he tried to do. But his cleat got caught underneath him and it rolled outside. And you're going like,
Yeah, like, come on.
like, just stop and stand up like a normal person. And because, we could use him as a defensive end going in. So, maybe this will, this month off will allow it to where he can start coming back. No idea what's going on with the Brandon Aiyuk situation there. I mean, this is a weird situation because, like, what's weird about it is, like, all this news of finding out about the voiding of the guarantees and all that happened before we were seeing Brandon Aiyuk out on the pregame warmups.
Right.
Like, so I'm sitting there like that feels like he's was specifically getting himself out there to show the 49ers he was there to be there and not have any more like money taken from him in some sort of way. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the BA situation. He would obviously help this team out, obviously, especially coming into those last 3 weeks of the year. But you should get a little bit healthier even as this time goes with the bye week and then playing the Titans, and it sets you up. It really does set up well for a run down those last 3 games of the year. That's going to tell us really, where the 49ers are from this season. That they've had a lot of growth and a lot of challenges through this season. When you get to those last 3 games, those are going to be all really tough games. The Bears are actually the number 1 seed in the NFC right now.
What is the world right now? I don't know this world that we live in, that the Patriots and the Bears and the Broncos are like the best teams. What is life?
And that I mean, what is life? And it's also like, it shows, because the wild thing about that is that the Bears have 9 wins and the 49ers have 9 wins. They are the number 1 seed and we are the number 7 seed. Like,
you can't lose to the Rams, I guess. Man,
I mean, it's like, that just feels wild to me. Because we're literally the number 7 seed, but also what feels wild is that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams ahead of us that have fewer wins. Like, make all this make sense. This is so wild.
Yeah. Just like we all predicted. Yeah, this is normal.
The 8-4 Eagles are ahead of us at 9-4. The Seattle Seahawks at 9-3 are ahead of us, obviously, because they have 1 fewer loss, but it's the same wins. The 8-3 Packers are ahead of us in the wild card standings. And that's because, they've played one because they also have a tie in there.
Yeah,
which is weird. Like the Packers could lose this week and they would still, and like it just, I don't know. Like,
the Lions are out of the playoffs as of right now.
Yeah, the Lions are out of the playoffs at 7-5. The Panthers are out of the playoffs at 7-6. The Cowboys are out of the playoffs at 6-5. So I mean, you just look at like these playoff standings. It feels weird. The Rams are 2nd seed in the conference at 9-3, and San Francisco is 7th seed at 9-4. Chicago's 2nd seed for number 1 seed at 9-3. Tampa Bay is the 4th seed at 7-5. I really do believe, I don't know, we've been over this, but it's seasons like this that make me feel this way, is that the seeding should, like, playoff spots should still exist for division winners. But I really do believe, I know, but I'm
not saying it's bad.
That seeding does need to happen based upon your overall record.
But, okay, devil's advocate. I am with you.
Been over the devil's advocate. I don't care about the devil's advocate. I just want it to be this way because I want the 49ers, if we were to make it in as 2nd in the NFC West with a wild card spot and having a better record than 2 other divisions, and we can make the argument now that it is not, because it's a weak division, and the other divisions have a bad record because they're a strong division. The NFC West is the best division in football, and it's not close.
So you look at that now. Well, come on now. You have the AFC West is not terrible. The Cardinals and the Raiders are the crappy teams of the West, but that's it. You have decent teams also in the AFC, just saying. And also to have the Patriots,
they're not the same as the NFC
Bills.
West. I mean, yes, the Broncos are 10-2. Phenomenal team. Okay. The Chargers are 8-4. The Chargers still, I mean, maybe you'll see after this week, the bye week, they may have the same record as the 49ers and the Rams and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But that's 2 teams. The Kansas City Chiefs are 6-6.
Yes, they may be
Okay.
the best
The
6-6
Las Vegas
team ever.
Raiders are 2-10. As
Okay, but the
bad as the
Cardinals are
Cardinals
bad.
are, but they are not Raiders bad. How dare
Well,
you?
they only have one
The
more win,
Raiders are
Johnny.
a different level of
They're
dysfunctional.
still but they still only have one more win. And by the way, that's against Tennessee, and that was a mistake. That win, they tripped and fell and won. Um, so hey, let's get to another super chat. Yeah, Ricky, is he healthy? Is he running good routes? What are you seeing? I'm curious.
Well,
Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Of course.
so you have to remember Ricky's playing a lot of Z. So like we're not
We
getting
did
a
talk
lot of
about this.
one-on-one matchups with him in the red zone. He doesn't have as big of a catch radius. So like red zone targets, he's not the guy that you want. If you're going to have a red zone target, you're going to look at Christian McCaffrey, short of it to break tackles and get in. You're going to look at George Kittle, big catch radius. You're going to look at Juwan Jennings, big catch radius. You're going to even say Kendrick Bourne, big catch radius. You're going to say Demarcus Robinson, bigger catch radius. Ricky Pearsall does not have the catch radius. He's not. He's a smaller frame guy. He's not going to be quite as physical. In the red zone, you're looking at more like contested catch kind of guys. You're looking at Luke Farrell. You're looking at Jake. To me, he's not a great red zone target, and that's kind of shown out. Like he's not that kind of a player. His need to be more of the explosives, and we just haven't seen those opportunities for separation. Now, we tried, and there was a number of plays where like he was number one in the progression or even number two to get one against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals just really took it away. And then we had some ops there against Carolina, and obviously those went south. So I do think that Ricky is still working back onto his conditioning. Remember, the guy didn't play football and do much running for like 2 months. Like he wasn't running at full speed because every time he would get up to close to full speed, they said he's still feeling pain in his knee. So like the conditioning there of wind sprint running is much different. Like you don't just get on a treadmill and jog for 2 miles and you're in wind sprint condition, sort of conditioning. So, he's got to work the conditioning back, and so that will get him a higher percentage of snaps. And then those ops he's got to take advantage of those when they get there. And some of it's got to be with Ricky of you got to either break a tackle or get the right angle and use that speed to go. We need an explosive element in this offense. It is clear we don't have right now any sort of explosive element. That is, you can score from 50 plus. Like that is an element that we just do not have in the offense right now. And Ricky is the only guy that I see that's getting significant playing time that could make that happen. If Jordan Watkins can work his way up the depth chart and he can get some ops in there, maybe. But I just don't see anybody else. So we need Ricky in there, but his touchdowns have got to come from the explosive element at this point.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Everybody's hurt at this point of the year. I mean, it's crazy. You think of our injuries and people getting back, but in the NFL in general, we're so deep into the season and most teams have had their bye that everyone's going to be banged up. It's almost even keel on some of this stuff, but we'll see going forward how the wide receivers do. And with the Aiyuk thing, like is Brandon Aiyuk, let's put this, I'm curious. In the chat, simply put a hashtag yes or hashtag no. Just real simple. Yes or no. And Johnny, what's your answer? Is Brandon Aiyuk going to see the field in 2025? Just simply yes or no. I'm gonna start off by saying hashtag no. Um, I don't want that to be the case, but that's my gut. Like from how I think they're going to play it close to the chest and say John Lynch is going to keep on saying, "Yeah, we'd love to get him out there. He's been working." Like he's going to be like political about it and just give that answer and say the right thing. We have two yeses so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 no's so far.
This is how uncertain I am. I have no idea, so I'm gonna flip a pick, not a coin, a pick. Okay, it's one of my Gibson picks. So shout out to Gibson USA. So we're gonna say Gibson side is yes, no side is no. We're gonna see what happens here. It fell.
Oh no,
It fell. I don't know where it went.
Okay, isn't that great?
I think it went way under. It says
you
yes.
don't even know, and then so you flip it, and then you lose it. If that tells you about the Brandon Aiyuk, that tells you about the Brandon Aiyuk situation, this is faithful. This is what you tell your friends when you're talking to other Niner fans. This is what you say. Well, I watched the Giant Football Academy, and they were talking about this, and even the main person in the channel, Johnny, wasn't sure, and so he flipped for it and then lost it. That's how much. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the Brandon Aiyuk situation, we need to get Matt Mayoko on this. Like this is heavy hitting journalism. Yeah,
this is the content everybody comes here for. No, it said yes. It was way under the desk, but it said yes. So, so I may be 41, but I can still get up from under the desk.
It's sitting leaned up on the desk on its side. I love that. That is hilarious.
It said yes. Okay, so I'm gonna go with yes.
The Magic 8 Ball.
I'm telling you, after you've watched what the Vikings have been this year, I'm telling you,
we scored as many points as they did yesterday. How about that for us? A victory lap to us. We scored as many points as the Vikings. I do think that that's worth noting, that anytime you can be on the couch and play just as well as another NFL team, look, shout out to the chat, shout out to all of us for putting up the same amount of points.
Okay, you're talking about us as fans. I was really confused for a second. I thought you were talking about the 49ers because I was like, yay.
No, me and you.
You were saying yes. You. Okay, now I get it.
You scored the same amount.
Okay, yeah,
we scored. We're just as good.
That look, I would offer. BA's under contract. Okay. I'm gonna call up the Vikings.
Easy, okay,
I'm gonna call up the Vikings and I'm gonna say, hey now, I have a very good receiver. He doesn't want to play for us necessarily, but he would probably be very happy with Mr. McConnell.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Some people who don't watch South Park are like, "What is Johnny doing?"
Yeah. So I would say I would call up the Vikings and say, "Look, you have a receiver that's being paid a lot of money that might not want to be there long term. We have a receiver that we're paying a lot of money, and I don't think he wants to be here long term. But we also have a quarterback that has proven that he can be a starter in this league. You have a quarterback problem. Let us solve your problem for you." And I would offer Mac Jones and BA to the Vikings for Justin Jefferson.
Oh, so Mr. Bless Reborn is already asking, are you high?
No, for real. Okay, if Brandon Aiyuk, put the contract drama aside, if Brandon Aiyuk was to hit the trade market, what would he command? It'd probably be a second-round pick, right?
Yeah, not a Justin Jefferson, dude.
No. It would probably be a second-round pick, right?
No, third.
BA got paid $28 million a year. Remember, this is a 1,400-yard receiver. So, and I get it. He's coming off major knee reconstruction surgery. Okay, Mac Jones, if he would hit the trade market, the thought is that he would be worth a high second. 2 second-round picks like that are equal to a first-round pick. Generally, what wide receivers go for. Remember, A.J. Brown went for, a third? If we're saying Brandon Aiyuk goes for a second, Justin Jefferson should be going for a first. Like, the trade compensation actually does make sense there. Because you're saying you're getting a massive upgrade on quarterback for what kind of a downgrade at receiver. This isn't like we're sending you Juwan Jennings. This isn't like we're sending you Kendrick Bourne. We're sending you Brandon Aiyuk, a very good receiver, a very, very good receiver. Somebody who was second team All-Pro. Like he's a very good receiver. I would argue, in 2023, he was top 8 in the league in receivers, top 10.
Yeah, I'll give
I mean,
you
we're
that.
not sending you a bag of Skittles here. We're sending you a very good receiver. Now we're asking for like the second or third best receiver in the league.
Right.
Back, but we're also giving you a massive upgrade and a guy that you would then be able to keep at a low cap number this year, because they could sign Mac Jones to an extension, keep his cap numbers really low. And we saw what you did with Sam Darnold, and this team and that defense, you have a chance to go do something with that. Like that, and it gets you out of, and it gives you a chance to not have to spend draft capital on it, and you get to then invest again back into the quarterback situation, get a buffer on that. You don't have to take a rebuild year to start going after that again. And so you have the it gives the people have been telling me I'm high. The logic actually does really make sense. So
you've convinced half the chat. They're chiming in. So
I'm saying. So AG Brown went for a first. I mean, so like I think all of it really, the trade compensation does actually start to make sense. I really do. Now, would they go for it? That's another thing. I mean, say you send Mac Jones, BA, and a third and get Justin Jefferson back.
Yeah. Gosh, in this offense.
That's what I'm saying.
Scary.
Like with this offense, and then you say where the defense should be next year with all their guys.
And Juice.
And you have Ricky Pearsall, who should, again, be coming along, and
then he can be the number
Jordan
2.
Watkins should be developing, Jacob Cowing, if he can be. I mean, this is like, it really does have the makings for a really, really special offense. I'm telling you, you get a Justin Jefferson on this offense. This is a 31 plus point per game offense all day long. It would be like franchise changing. You do that. I'm just saying.
That's all right. I am all right. I'm officially sold. It's happening next week. Stay tuned for our shows. We'll talk about it when it happens. We'll give Johnny Dell the credit. So yeah, we go into the bye. We are feeling good, looking good, smelling good. We don't smell like Rams fans. Man, it's all good. I don't know what else to say, man. It's all to the good. And in December, that always isn't the case. Like, we're not always feeling this way. So, what a game. All right. So, Johnny, what are you thinking?
Let's let FYI for people asking what the Justin Jefferson contract would look like. His cap numbers would be $2.5 million more than what BA would be next year.
That's it. It's not a ton. All right. We'll see if this can get a little traction. That would be crazy. All right. So what's our schedule with the buys and everything? We going normal? Let's let the faithful know.
Yeah. We'll go normal. I'm gonna have the review video out this week, and then honestly, I normally try and do some sort of bye week sort of thing. The bye week coming as late as it is, I'm mentally exhausted from all this film. So I'm going to be taking a little bit of a film break during that week, reset my mind, because this is the latest that I've ever had a bye week too. Not just Shanahan or anybody that's been there. So I need that rest a little bit. I got to get a couple extra hours of sleep, be refreshed for the final push down the year, and hopefully into the playoffs and deep into the playoffs. We'll see what happens.
Love it.
So, but other than that, our schedule will be normal. We will go Friday, look at the bye week, sort of predictions, and kind of also take a look at the NFC West and how things will be shaking out with their upcoming games and all that. And then Monday, obviously, can talk about that, where the 49ers are poised to stand after the action of the weekend is shaken down.
Yep. Love it. All right. So again, make sure that you take your phone and show.
And just want to address Mike B. So yeah, what those cap numbers are, that's with the prorated signing bonus. So you have to take those prorated signing bonuses off for Justin Jefferson when he's traded, because that counts as dead money. So so you have to take some of those off, and he becomes his base salary is a $17 million base salary, or $24 million base salary, but then he's no, sorry, excuse me, is 17. The cap number was, it was a 25 or something like that, $26 million cap number. And then with some of those things, when you take the dead money off of that, it becomes more of a 17 and a half or $18 million cap figure. And Brandon Aiyuk is 16 this next year. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Good stuff. Again, shows, new episodes come to you usually Monday and Friday. However, you need to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified in case we go off track. As you may or may not have noticed, we do from time to time go off way track. So make sure you hit the notification bell. Be sure to share the channel with your friends. Show them your favorite video. Mine is still one of my favorites, is still from a couple years ago, the Brock Purdy, why Brock Purdy should be MVP. The way you broke down some negatives, not just showing a highlight reel of a guy throwing 18 great passes. It was more of the storyline, and all that was really well done. That's my favorite video. So be sure to show people your favorite video. Also, check in with Sports Idiot Nation, because today's episode, we went over all things college football and the Lane Kiffin debacle, going to LSU. We got into everything, all the other
Hey, we gonna get
NFL
TI
stuff.
on for
So
our Titans preview episode?
no brainer. That's a no
Let's make that
brainer.
happen. Yeah, let's make
Yeah,
that happen.
that's a no
I mean,
brainer.
we gotta have somebody else to make fun of instead of us.
Yeah, no brainer. So if you guys don't know, this podcast that I do with my buddy Miles and our buddy Ti, we call him, he's the Titans idiot. He has 36,000 followers on social media. Well, when you add them all up, it's closer to over 40,000. And he is like their number one fan. He is in a living hell, as it is not debatable that he has the worst team. It's cute when you're in the bottom 5, but when you are literally the worst team in the NFL, it's a different kind of pain. We'll ask him about it. We'll have him on. This is very exciting for me, because as I get to host both podcasts, to have them together when there's no reason to have TI on this podcast ever, unless we simply play the Titans, and we don't play them all the time. So that's going to be a debacle of a show. You will not want to miss it. It's going to be hilarious. And yes, as Farscape Forever says, there are that many Titans fans. That's all of them. He has he has consumed the market. So shout out to Titans Idiot. It is a hilarious follow. If you are on Facebook, type in.
I mean, you gotta have a sense of humor if you are
Come on,
leading a group of fans of the Titans.
So
I mean,
so he'll tell his
you have
story.
to
It
have a
is
sense of
amazing.
humor.
If you're on Facebook, first type in Sports Idiot Nation if you're on Facebook, but then type in Titans Idiot Nation, and you will just have a good laugh. He doesn't literally just post all things Titans. It's also just funny memes about football or whatever. If there's a huge breaking story in the sports world, he'll have a funny meme about it,
Yeah, I
like a
mean, but
Lane Kiffin or something.
just remember, you have to have a good sense of humor to be a Titans fan. Like your life is a comedy of errors if you watch your football team. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that they traded away AJ Brown, who then goes to the Eagles and is who he is,
Yeah.
and then
So
fire Mike Vrabel, who then goes and leads
oh, dude,
the
don't get him
Patriots to where
started.
they are.
Oh my gosh.
And the debacles at quarterback that they've had is, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a
Jake
comedy of errors.
Locker, Marcus
Oh my
Mariota,
gosh.
and then now
Yeah.
Mariota's still playing. Like it is. He has
Well,
a
sorta. I mean,
plethora.
I don't know if what you call last night playing.
Hey, come on now, dude.
I will say he gave Dre
They almost
Greenlaw the
won,
easiest interception of his career. I'm just
but
saying.
they almost won. If that ball
I'm
doesn't get
just saying.
tipped for the 2-point
I'm just
conversion,
saying. I'm just saying.
Denver was playing
I'm
with
just
their food.
saying. Just saying.
All right. So again, follow Sports Idiot Nation. Some of you they appreciate it, and you know how silly TI can be because you've seen our show. But it is just Miles and I who talk earlier this morning, and Miles does a great job of breaking down college football. So if you're a college football fan, you don't want to miss today's episode of Sports Idiot Nation. So be sure to follow. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, notification bell, all the good stuff. It really helps us out. So with that being said, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, no Titans, go Niners.